Not all ghosts are seen, some are felt. This is the story of Cedar Street's darkest secret. The old Victorian house at the end of Cedar Street had always been the subject of local rumors, whispers of strange noises and flickering lights in the windows, but nothing could have prepared the small town of Norwood for what was found inside. It was a rainy Thursday afternoon when Mr. Roberts, the local real estate agent, visited the house for an inspection. The previous owners had moved out months ago, and the house had been sitting vacant ever since. Roberts had expected a routine walkthrough, but as he stepped through the front door, a foul odor immediately assaulted his senses. Roberts hesitated, his stomach turning. It smelled like something had died. Still, he pushed forward, trying to shake off the unease creeping up his spine. The house was dark, save for the occasional lightning flash through the windows. As he moved through the halls, the smell intensified. Following the stench, he descended into the basement, a place that had been the subject of local legends. The basement was damp, the floor slick with condensation. The dim light from his flashlight revealed old furniture covered in dust and forgotten boxes stacked against the walls. But in the far corner of the cellar, something caught his eye, a large wooden chest slightly open, the source of the smell. Roberts swallowed hard and stepped closer. His trembling hand reached for the lid, and as he lifted it, his worst fear was realized. Inside, partially decomposed and curled into a fetal position, was the body of a young woman. Her skin was pale, her clothes filthy and torn. Roberts stumbled back, his heart pounding as he fumbled for his phone to call the police. Detective Evelyn Carter arrived at the scene shortly after the call came in. She was no stranger to murder cases, but this one sent a chill through her. The cellar was dimly lit, shadows flickering as she examined the body. The woman was identified as Alice Turner, a 25-year-old local who had been missing for over a month. Her disappearance had baffled the town, and now the grim truth lay before them. Alice had been dead for at least 2 weeks, the autopsy revealed. The cause of death was blunt force trauma to the head. There were bruises around her wrists and ankles, suggesting she had been tied up. The old chest in which her body had been found showed signs of being locked from the outside. It was clear someone had kept her here, hidden away in the darkness of the cellar, before ending her life and leaving her to rot. Evelyn's investigation began with Alice's close circle of friends and family. She had been a quiet, reserved woman, living alone and working as a barista at the local cafe. Her friends described her as kind but distant in recent months. Alice had been involved with someone, but she had kept their identity a secret, saying she didn't want to jinx the relationship. Evelyn's instincts told her that this mysterious partner could be the key to solving the case. The first real clue came from Alice's phone records. In the weeks leading up to her disappearance, she had been exchanging frequent texts and calls with a man named David Reed, a handyman who had done occasional work around town. Reed had a reputation for being a loner, living in a small cabin on the outskirts of Norwood. When Evelyn tracked him down, he appeared nervous, his hands shaking as he answered her questions. David claimed that he and Alice had been dating in secret for a few months. According to him, Alice had wanted to keep things quiet because she was worried about the town's judgment. He insisted that he hadn't seen Alice in weeks, and when asked about the day of her disappearance, he claimed to have been working on a roofing job in a neighboring town. But something in his eyes made Evelyn doubt him. A search of David's cabin turned up no immediate evidence linking him to the crime, but a more thorough investigation of his alibi revealed inconsistencies. The roofing company he claimed to have worked for had no record of him on the job the day Alice went missing. The walls were closing in on David, but Evelyn still needed concrete evidence to tie him to the murder. That's when she decided to take another look at the old Victorian house. Something about the scene didn't sit right with her. Returning to the basement, she noticed something she had overlooked the first time, a small blood-stained hammer tucked behind one of the old boxes in the corner. It was a common tool, easily dismissed, but its presence in the cellar where Alice had been found was suspicious. Forensics confirmed it. The blood on the hammer matched Alice's. This was the murder weapon. But how had it ended up in the basement? Evelyn's mind raced. David had done handyman work all over town, including at the Victorian house. He had the opportunity, but did he have the motive? The breakthrough came from Alice's best friend, Clara, who finally opened up about a conversation she'd had with Alice just days before her disappearance. Alice had confided in her that David had grown increasingly possessive and controlling. He had started showing up unannounced at her apartment, calling her at all hours and making veiled threats when she tried to distance herself. Alice had been planning to break things off, but she was afraid of how David would react. With this information, Evelyn brought David back in for questioning. This time, he couldn't keep his story straight. Under pressure, his calm facade began to crumble. He admitted to meeting Alice at the Victorian house the night she disappeared. They had argued, she had tried to end things, and in a fit of rage, he had struck her with the hammer. When he realized what he had done, he panicked, locking her body in the chest and leaving it to be forgotten in the cellar. David was arrested and charged with murder. His cold, calculated actions shocked the town, but for Detective Evelyn Carter, it was another reminder of the darkness that could lurk behind seemingly ordinary lives. Alice Turner had trusted the wrong person, and it had cost her everything. As Evelyn watched David being led away in handcuffs, she couldn't help but feel the weight of the tragedy. The echoes of Alice's final moments haunted the old Victorian house, and for those who knew her, the nightmare would never truly fade.
Make sure to subscribe to the channel, press the bell icon, and like the video.